This is the only video guide to perspective drawing you will ever need. Trust me on that, if you master those 5 exercises, you will be an amazing artist and you will have no problems to draw any building, any door, window, whatever you like, even people. So yeah, let's get straight into it. So first I will teach you what horizon line is. Basically a horizon line is the place where your eyes are. So the line you will draw later is the place where you see. So for example, if I put a piece of paper on the height of my eye, it becomes a line. But if I put it a little bit lower, you can see the top part of this paper. But when I move it upwards, you can see the bottom. So basically I hope this explained the basics and what we're gonna do right now. So let's move to the first exercise. So right now basically that's what I'm gonna draw. This is the paper and we're gonna draw it out going upwards and downwards. Now, as I said, I'm gonna start my drawing with the horizon line. I make it in the middle of the paper because it will be the most convenient for me. And now I am deciding on the size of the squares of the paper, and I draw the first one which sits on the horizon line, and in the middle of this will be my vanishing point. Now I am drawing the second one, which is a little bit lower, and we're gonna see the top part. I start with the 2 lines which meet in the vanishing point, and the other 2 are parallel to the horizon line. I make those straight lines to make like the guidelines for my drawing and to know what size the other square will be. Of course, I draw the parallel line at the same distance like the top part, and yeah, just try to make it as straight and sharp as it's possible. And actually the entire process is very repetitive and monotonous. I measure the distance between those blocks by hand, so it's not really something extraordinary, and the entire process is actually really simple. Also, I recommend you not using any like rulers, or try to just draw it by hand. You learn much quicker, you train your hands, so the perspective drawing and actually any drawing will go much easier to you if you make straight lines or practicing to do straight lines. It will be much helpful later on when you have to do the entire drawing, and yeah, it will be much faster and better for you if you try drawing it by hand. So in this exercise and in 1-point perspective drawing in particular, you need to remember that if we have the vanishing point on the paper, other lines need to be parallel to the horizon line. This is very, very important to make it as natural as possible. So remember about this while drawing it. So I am adding the shadows and some color for you to understand what we drew right now, but you don't have to really do this if you don't want to. I will explain the shadows and how to do them properly in other video, but for now I would leave it, I would just leave it linearly like you see it right now. Now the exercise I will show you right now, it is the basics of all the basics. If you master this one, you will be great in drawing perspective. You can say these are just the division of the squares, but this can be a window, the door, the entire building, elevation, facade, anything. This can be anything. So okay, this time I'm gonna start with drawing the square first. And let's try to make it as straight as possible, because then you will see the best results. When we are done with drawing the square, we're gonna connect these 2 corners and do this X sign. Then we find the point in the center, and now we know where the line should be, and we divided the square into half. Very simple, very easy. And now we start the same way, so we draw the square, and also the next step is the same, so we do this X sign, we find the central point, and we draw the line dividing it into half. Now we're gonna divide the rectangles into half, and we find those 2 points, which tells us where the line should be. We can also do the second V sign and find more points, then the line should be more accurate, but it is not required. You can do this only one time and it works perfectly fine. For the beginners, it is easier to find the line and draw it straight, so maybe try doing those 2 V signs. So that's basically it. You learn how to divide the square into half and into 3 parts. Now we're gonna do the same thing but in the perspective, because it was easier to show you this way how it works, but we're gonna use it in the perspective. So it works the same way. We do this rectangular shape or square shape, and we also connect those 2 corners, finding the center to divide it into half. Very simple, you can see. And now we're gonna do the same thing with the division into 3 parts. And as I said, this is the basic, and this is like really simple, and this can be in the future the door or whatever you were gonna draw. Also, the drawing is much more accurate this way. So that's how it works here. You can be a little bit terrified because here you can see a lot of lines, but if you remember this, it gets really simple. So yeah, here I done it with only 1 V shape, and we are done. Moving to the next exercise. Now, what if you don't want to divide it into half, into 3 parts, but you want to measure equal sections of the surface you are drawing? Now I will show you the division and method of Thales, and we start with the square and we elongate those 2 lines at the top and at the bottom, and I'm gonna color this starting square so that you understand and see this method better. Now we one more time do this X sign, we connect those corners, nothing new, we find the central point, but now we're gonna draw this very long line in the middle, and we find this point, and we're gonna draw line through it, and we find this way the next part, which is the same size as the first one. So basically that is the method, and I'm gonna show you can do it many times. So now I am checking really if the parts are the same size, and they are almost the same. Now I will do the same thing in the perspective, and this is the method I am using the most in my perspective drawing, so this is very important to learn it. This will be our base point, the base square, from which we're gonna draw the other ones. I already did the horizon line which goes through the center, so it is easier example. And I just gonna make those lines going through this central point, measuring the other squares in the perspective. As you see, that's how it basically works. Very simple, and yeah, but it is really important to learn it and to master it. I just wanted to remind you, if you liked this video so far, if it was helpful in any way, please consider leaving a like or comment or check out other of my videos, because it helps me with the fight with the algorithm a lot. So yeah, thanks in advance. And now back to the video. Now the big test, it will be the usage of all the methods and all the stuff we just learned, and we're gonna start with the horizon line. As in every drawing, make it as straight as possible, and it will be like small geometric drawing to test ourselves, to practice a little bit, because what makes us perfect is the practice, nothing else. So yeah, let's try it. Now, to do anything with our knowledge, we need a cube, so let's draw it like I do right now. It is in 1 point perspective, and I am drawing out the lines we see and also the lines which are at the back which we don't see, because it will make it easier later. Now we're gonna divide this wall of this cube into half using the method I showed you. It was the second method. And we are doing this X sign, also finding the point in the middle and doing the straight line, going to the vanishing point. Now I am dividing the same way this top part of this cube. So also I am doing the X sign, I am connecting those two corners, finding the middle point and doing the line which is parallel to the horizon line. Now I can easily draw the rest of my wall which I just cut, so this way I can find the next point which shows me the rest, how to do the rest. So this showed me where is the point through which I need to draw the line coming from the vanishing point. And yes, this really showed me the next point, and I can finish the drawing making this straight line and finding the next point and creating the last line going to the vanishing point, and the entire drawing is finished. And yeah, don't worry if you don't understand it yet, I will make another few drawings in a second, so I will explain it once again. And now I will just color it so that you understand what we drew better, and we move to the next drawing. So once again, I need a cube to show you everything. So I draw a cube, and when we are done, we can start cutting some parts off. So first I start the same way, also with this X sign. I connect the corners and I draw this straight line, and also I decided to do this second one, and this way we have those 3 points. Going from that, I make 3 lines going straight to the vanishing point. I continue on the drawing by dividing this second wall, and exactly the same way I did before. I connect those lines and I created next 2 points. Now we do the parallel lines to the horizon line. We do lines going to the vanishing point. Once again, we check if everything is straight, and that's basically it. Once again, I'm gonna color it for you to understand it better. You don't have to do this, but yeah, it looks better and cooler this way. And we move to the third and last exercise. This will be more advanced. It will be a little bit different. It will be different because this wall I will divide in the 3 parts, so we will use the third method I showed you. We connect the corners for the 100th time in this video, and we do the straight line, and now we divide the rectangles and we find those 2 points and we divide it in the 3 parts. Then I decided to do this line in the middle of this side, this wall, and we find those 3 points and we'll cut this really intricate shape from this cube. On this side, I'm just gonna do this X sign one more time, and I'm gonna divide it into half. And basically what we want to do, we want to find this intricate, this weird shape from the front at the back. So basically from the 3 points we find previously, we do the lines going straight to the vanishing point. Then from this point we do the parallel line to the horizon line, and we find this bottom point. We do straight line which meets with this line going to the vanishing point, and that's how we connect all the points and we find this shape at the back. And that's the end. I hope the tutorial was helpful, and in the next episode I will teach you how to draw circles in perspective with some additional tips. So stay tuned.